Test your might. Flawless victory. Your soul is mine. And some other shit they fucking say. Do they say most of that shit throughout? I forgot. Do they? Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, it might have been like sprinkled in here and there per se, as per what we're going to be talking about today, which is Mortal Kombat 2021, the reboot of the 1995 film. Whether you call it classic or if I dare call it classic, I won't dare go there. But all I will say is that it was an enjoyable watch, referring to the 1995 version. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to delve deep into this most recently released, as in literally earlier today, April 23rd, 2021 version of Mortal Kombat, starring who the fuck knows who, because I didn't bother memorizing any of the cast or seeing who the fuck is who, regardless of who's in the fucking film. So get that out of the fucking way. Don't ask me who the cast is. I don't know either, and I don't give a shit, to be honest, because no one stood out except for one person, which is the clear-cut bad guy from the start, and he's not even the main bad guy throughout the whole thing. So we'll get to that later. We'll get to who actually, to me, my opinion, humbly, of course, here for who this been watching, stood out in Mortal Kombat, the reboot 2021 version, brought to you by Warner Brothers, and, you know, made it to HBO Max, did his thing there, because, you know, it had to be, you know, right on the cusp of, right on the ass hairs of Godzilla vs. Kong, as far as Warner Brothers wanted to come out in theaters, promote it properly, do its thing there. But did it really do its thing properly is what we're going to elaborate. We're going to delve deep into, again, tonight, live, later than usual, but still live and late on a Friday. Who this been watching? As you can see in the pinned comment, we're talking about Mortal Kombat. Just came out today. So believe me and bet your fucking ass, spoilers galore if you haven't seen it yet, and if you're still planning on seeing it later tonight or whenever you get a chance to, believe me, I won't be offended. Jump off this shit right now. Or if you're watching the YouTube podcast version later on in a couple of days from this IG live version, which is, by the way, always brought to you uncut, uncensored, and uncircumcised. It's practically Jewish what I give you. It's pure, just like that halal meat. This is the halal meat version of who this been watching, brought to you by me, live on Fridays, as I always do. So yeah, make sure you hit whatever you gotta hit, whatever you gotta do as far as like and subscribe and following. Again, youtube.com/who this is one. That's the same tag I use on every platform available to me. Shout outs to 810_versus_the world, as well as Cedo Base, and shout outs to Afro Dominicano always. And also to I Rewatch iCarly for joining as well, the live chat. 810 already chiming in with it was good. And Cedo Base was, the acting was meh, fights were pretty cool. We're going to get into all that because I made a lot of notes, considering I did a past episode solely on the first Mortal Kombat 1995, a fuck Annihilation. That was a terrible one. But yeah, we'll get into all that. Delve deep as far as, again, a lot of notes, a lot to touch on as far as this brand new release is concerned. It's supposed to be a blockbuster. It's one of the few big name fucking deals that made it to the big screen as far as the theaters, you know, with your mask on, socially distanced. If I can start things off with this properly, it would be, I'm glad I didn't take the day off from work to go see this. I sat at home. I made time after I punched out of my work shift to watch this and sit down from home. So in case I didn't enjoy it, I don't have to, you know, put anybody near me who's a stranger, even if they're 6 feet apart, socially distanced and such, through the torture on me saying, God damn it, oh, fuck, this shit sucked. Or, I paid admission for this shit. Where do I go to get my refund, pretty much? But yeah, shout outs also to _laptop for joining in, as well as Mickey_stabs4644 for joining the live as well. 810 chiming in with pouring a 40 for Goro. We'll get to that part too. Cedo Base, I'd be tight if I paid to watch in the theaters. Yes, that will be the sentiment throughout, but again, we'll touch on various points. Again, everybody who's in the comments watching live right now on IG at who this is one, or who this been watching, please feel free to chime in with whatever you got as we go along, as we run it down the line. If you agree, disagree, you know, don't be a stranger, don't be shy, just, you know, out with it, you know, it's all right. And whatever, you gotta bring up whatever too. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So, I mean, if I tell you the story of what the fuck this thing is, you're not going to believe me anyways, but it's based off the 1992 video game released first in the arcades, which I miss sorely. I'm old enough to remember finally going to an arcade. I grew up in Astoria. So, yeah, I grew up in Astoria, and I remember Pizza Palace out by Astoria, right off, I think, like a block away from the last stop of the N train, Denmark's Boulevard. Used to always have the brand new arcade cabinet games. So I was there. I was like 6 years old when the first Mortal Kombat came out in the summer of '92. I want to say roughly '92-ish, spring, summer, give or take. But I remember that fondly. I remember right before that, the Street Fighter 2 game came out in the fucking arcade. Everybody lining up with the fucking cup full of quarters. You know, I was broke, I was poor, so I'd have to like scavenge for like 2 quarters to play, but I'd have to make the line and wait for everybody else to get their turns in. Of course, there were the bullies, there were the older kids, there were the fucking assholes who just spent all afternoon impossible because, you know, they had like crackhead parents and, you know, working double shifts just to like put them through public school. Meanwhile, I didn't go to private or anything like that. I went to a humble enough public school where you got free lunch. I remember getting free lunch, but then you'd wonder when these fucking kids' parents are, where they're at the fucking pizzeria all day playing Street Fighter, or when Mortal Kombat came out, forget it. They abandoned Street Fighter. You'd play Street Fighter only if you didn't get a spot to fucking play Mortal Kombat, or you weren't lining up or lucky enough to make the line to get a turn in on Mortal Kombat. And then by then, I always had a poor memory for shit that I like didn't care about enough. I mean, I love video games. I always have from like the youngest age. But then I remember I can never remember fucking combos or fatalities, none of that shit too. I don't remember, to be honest, if they were more complicated back when. I know now with the modern Mortal Kombats that came out for the home systems and such, that are a lot easier, like a fourth of the length. It's like up, 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 down, A, B, A, B, instead of like fucking 25 buttons you had to input from a certain distance. You had to jump at like half length before you hit the mid punch button, and if you hit the low punch button, then you fucked it all up, and then you don't get the special fatality, whatever. It was a whole mess back when. Let me see. Cedo base, I wanted Cole to turn into Scorpion. There's a lot to discuss with Cole. A big sore thumb that stuck out throughout the whole fucking thing was that guy Cole. Let's just call him Cole World, you know, for someone cool with the name Cole, like J. Cole. Shout outs to him. Because Cole Young, first off, is a name for a character, a brand new character to the franchise to debut in the reboot of the movie. That's supposed to kick off a whole, now based off the ending, spoilers, alluding to Johnny Cage, you know, taking part in the tournament again, since they just won this tournament with everything that led up to the end. Now they got to do the tournament again to defend the Earth realm and shit. Now of all people, they got to fucking look for Johnny Cage, which is something that really stuck out to me, because why invent a whole new character that looks alone, hairstyle, all he needs is fucking shades, sunglasses on him to look like Johnny Cage. Why invent a guy that looks like Johnny Cage anyway, and not just have Johnny Cage along with Sonya Blade, along with fucking Kano, along with fucking Jax, along with the usual suspects from the very first Mortal Kombat you had to begin with? You missed that fucking opportunity right there to make it easy. Nostalgia trip for all the older heads, like, oh yeah, Johnny Cage, and everybody's here from the old cast and shit. Okay, you sprinkle in, you know, like Melina, you sprinkle in Natara, and God, I'm gonna fuck up his name. I'm gonna mix him up with Shang Tsung the whole time. Kung Lao with the sharp ass hat too. You could have all intertwined them beautifully, made them all work. You know, the new with the old. You know, 1995 since the first one, so ever since then you've had like 11, 12 Mortal Kombat games that came out, and a whole slew of DLC, brand new characters, all that shit too, to inject and infuse into this version now. But they fucking chose to go with a brand new guy from out of nowhere. There's no real backstory besides he's a failed cage fighter, and you know, so he's like a disgruntled white boy who tried to make it at MMA, but didn't have the cuts or chops to make it. So, of course, of all things, the nether realm needs him. Lord Raiden needs him to fucking save that part of the universe, even though he sucks on Earth already. So he's getting called from Earth to go to the universe to defend them. That's like the aliens, I don't know, picking up like a bench warmer from a football team to put on the intergalactic or go win the intergalactic Super Bowl instead of like getting, you know, whoever the big name football players are, like, I don't know, Peyton Manning or, you know, back when Troy Aikman, depending on whenever the aliens landed. Because, you know, according to conspiracy theories, aliens landed like years ago. They're just, you know, on, you know, hidden files stored away in a cabinet locked away in Area 51 of all places. Let's see. 810 versus the world. Cole got to be DLC for Mortal Kombat 11 and pouring 40 out for Kung Lao. Yeah. The Kung Lao thing was kind of, I don't know what happened there either, but yeah, getting back, I guess, to the story. Okay, so if you watch the first Mortal Kombat from 1995, apparently there's a part of the universe that has this sick fucking games of putting people from different beings, from different realms. Earth, light, you know, dirty asshole realm, because, or the Baraka realms, whatever, too. They drag them all into one place to hold like an annual tournament to the death called Mortal Kombat, of course. You know the fucking brutes putting it together because they're spelling the combat with a K instead of C. So, you know, English grammar is getting fucking fatalities all over because of the spelling alone. So they gather them all together to do this thing to defend the realms. Whoever wins this shit 10 times straight gets to fucking take over the universe, apparently. So whatever realm Shang Tsung's from, he's about to fucking take over because he's won 9 out of 10 already. They're about to win the 10th for the bad guys. So then, of course, they bring in fucking this guy, Cole Young, who's a failed MMA fighter. Well, again, we're going to dub him Cole World. And shout out to J. Cole because we want someone cool associated with the name Cole, not a loser like this fucking guy was the whole movie. He sucked. The actor and the fucking character. Hand in hand, mano a mano, sucked. Ass, dick, balls, whatever you're into. But yeah, he's tapped to be like the savior because he's got this like branding tattoo of a dragon, whatever, that deems him, you know, the direct heir to Scorpion, or I forget the name of the character they gave him, but it was a pretty cool name actually. So he's a direct heir. He's the one supposed to be defending and shit, and he's the chosen one. And then Sub-Zero's looking for his ass to freeze him to death and like lick him like a popsicle. And, you know, under the orders of Shang Tsung, of course, because he's the head boss, the big cheese. You know, he's ordering Goro around. He's ordering fucking whoever else is available around too. You know, then out of nowhere, you know, of course, Sonya Blade's always directly linked to Kano. They're always together. She's always arresting him. He always gets away. He's always making pussy jokes around her too. And she's always like giving him dirty looks and like slapping him around if she can, but she can't kill him or arrest him for life since he's allegedly the leader of this whole big, dangerous, world-renowned gang of underworld scum like he's supposed to be. And then, what was it? Jax used to be army, whatever personnel, no disrespect to the military. I'm just saying I don't know exactly what branch of the military he's supposed to be from. Him and Sonya been on tour together, so they work together to fucking find this guy Cole World too as well and save his ass, but then Sub-Zero gets him anyway, and then they're warped over there. They're supposed to find their whole fucking, you know, chi, chakra, you know, downward dog pose to hit during hot yoga sessions in the cave to see what powers they're going to develop. And then eventually it boils down to the fight between the good guys, the bad guys, and the fucking other realm they don't inhabit in the first place anyway. They're doing their thing over there. Of course the bad guys lose. This is the first time I remember in the movie like that clearly that the bad guys like got wiped out. Like the good guys prevailed clean almost. Okay, Kung Lao dies before the end. You know, spoilers, I told you that already too. And you know, what the fuck else? Who else died? That was like a good guy. I think Kung Lao, that was it. But yeah, it leads to the end, you know, Cole World, the brand new guy that didn't exist before, was out of nowhere, gets his chakra, his skin, he develops like this whole, like his chest, his upper torso turns into like a whole, like a callus you develop on your foot or like your hand from working out too much. So he develops that power, which I still can't define. Because at first, when he was getting beat up by Goro, Prince Goro, who gets decimated within like 3-4 minutes the whole time he lasts in the movie. Meanwhile, okay, he at least killed like 10 people in the first Mortal Kombat movie. And, you know, he's always been a pain in the ass to play in the games too, to the point where they developed what? The female Goro version after him too, that was even worse and just even more annoying and a bigger cunt than he was, to the point now where he's just taken apart. He's like ripped apart, guts all spilling out of him like that clean within 4 minutes. And Cole, while he's getting beat up by Goro, it looks like he's developing Black Panther powers because of the suit. He's like absorbing the hits and taking the impact. And it seems like he's going to take enough and just be able to like deliver it right back at him too. But then he just develops like a cocoon, like a callus skin all over him too. He gets like these blades on his forearms, like I forget the fighting style it's called, but like some Muay Thai kind of Vietnamese, Thailand-ish things where they use the sticks, like billy clubs at the end to fight with and all that shit. He develops that out of nowhere. No real explanation. There's no Lord Raiden, who's the know-all, end-all, be-all, doesn't even explain, oh, yes, my son, you develop these powers, which are special to you because you develop your chakra, and so special to you like an individual will be, whatever. No explanation. We're going into it blind. He develops this shit. And then at the end, we finally get the good fight that started off the movie on a good foot. Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, without the powers, Sub-Zero had his powers, but without the suits, without the fucking get over here, without the spears and the this, that, the whatever too. We end that off with that fight finally, with them two going at it. Scorpion finally kills his ass because Sub-Zero killed him first and his wife, but not the baby. The oldest child got murked, but then the baby lived because Lord Raiden, abducted the child against their will because they're a baby. They're not going to know anything else better. And then, zapped his way out to the nether realms to protect him, and then, forced the baby to procreate because it was a girl. And, in Asian cultures, or at least in China, they still have that thing, which I was finding out earlier about today, where they got this thing like ghost cities in China. So I forget where exactly, but to the point where these cities that were built to hold like 1 million or so people approximately only got inhabited by like 20,000-30,000 the most. And already in China, again, I don't remember specifically where, but it's to this day, they still got that thing where they wanted only like one child per family and preferably a male. They'd kill off the girls. I don't know how relevant it is now, but that's according to when it happened. To the point now where there's an uneven balance or ratio of men versus women. Women are on the very low end, to the point where in these ghost cities, regular schmegular guys are buying like 3-4 houses just to attract the very few scarce amount of females in China to lure them in to procreate, to have, children and build a whole family and have some regular pussy to have, because pussy out there is like water in a drought almost. It's like one raindrop hits and everybody's coming out to fucking find the source and tap it and rape the land per se. But yeah, it's crazy out there too. So Raiden makes his female baby, procreate eventually, hopefully when she's a legal age. But then again, back in those days, years and years and centuries ago, what was the legal age? Because 12, 13-year-old women were like, girls were like burying children, and they were dying at like 40, 50 anyway. So I don't even know no more. But then the Bible says, Moses and all of them lived to like 734, allegedly. I don't know too. That was man written, or whoever fucking put the Bible together, allegedly. Of course, according to what they said, God said to them. But then again, in that thing, God spoke to them through a fire bush, or the bush was a redhead or something like that. I don't know. But then, you get to the end, and then fucking Cole, he's like the savior. He's supposed to be like the brains of the whole operation too. Everybody's following his orders, even though Sonya's trained military, even though Jax is even more advanced military guy with the bionic arms. You got fucking Kung Lao, rest in peace, who had that super cool fucking like worry blade hat, like a buzzsaw. You got motherfucking, well, Kano was good per se, but then he switched over and went bad afterwards. Raiden was unimpressive, even though he's got these powers and shit to like zap people and lightning, of course, like electrify him and turn him all into fucking Michael J. Fox. Eventually, he just holds like, it'd be like if he can't shake hands, because then he'd be doing the cheap buzzer joke. Like, remember those buzzers they used to like hide in your hand? You used to shake somebody's hands like, oh, whatever. You know, Lord Raiden would be doing that all the time. And then who else? Who else is there? Like I mentioned, Jax, Sonya Blade. Who else was a good guy there? Oh, well, Scorpion. For God's sake, Scorpion. The guy dies, goes to hell, so obsessed with revenge that they say, no, you're going to go deep, deep, deep into hell and come back. They don't even show the skeleton. They show like the jawline of the skeleton, which we were all waiting for, and which we got plenty of in the first fucking movie, where he takes the whole skin. Well, he had skin, right? Yeah, he did. Took the whole mask off and took his whole face skin off, and then there was a skull spitting out magma and fire, whatever, too. All that shit. And these guys are taking orders or like tipping their hats or paying homage to fucking Cold World of all people. But all right. That's the really synopsis of the film. Now, we'll get to the notes now and what I mostly did not like about Mortal Kombat 2021 released today. Oh, you know what? We got to give a lot of shout outs actually to people chiming in, and sorry for skipping over the comments briefly. Shout outs to sweet_Solly_nuts for joining, David NJ36 for joining as well, Party Marty 35 for joining as well, Kenneth Stones with a Z at the end. One half of the Dirty Heels as well. Shout out to you guys always. Appreciate it. And let's see what else. Let's go to the comments then. Kenneth Stones, I hated the movie. The main character didn't even need to be in it. The whole Scorpion and finding your G power shit was dumb as hell. Exactly. Yes, it was. Terrible looking Raiden. Yeah, Raiden was underwhelming. He was fat faced. If you're a god and you got lightning of all things, you know, emitting from your hands, you're kind of like real world, real life fucking Iron Man with shit shooting out your hands like that. All these powers anybody would kill for, and you're fat and most likely bald like I am under this fucking thing. So of all things, come on, are you really a god, or are you just like an OP'd fucking simp? A fat simp monk, if anything. Let's see. Jack with the chicken arms was funny at first. Let's see. Kapal was dope. Also, shout outs to official Nasty Leroy for joining the live. Let's see. Nightwolf Easter egg. Oh, yeah, right. Nightwolf is briefly mentioned in that scripture patches or whatever they had too. Shout outs to Larry at Barbecue for joining as well. And a reference to the Mortal Kombat 11 video game. Oh, yeah. So, it seems like in unison, there seems to be a lot of you out there, just like me, which are ready. We're all ready to trash the film. I guess maybe so much so for the fact that the first one, as old as it is, considering the limited technology with special effects and whatever they did with it too, was back when in 1995, compared to now where they got, for the most part, CGI out the ass from start to finish. It's kind of like a cheat code, like you would use to fucking play the game if anyone's old enough to remember, you know, Game Shark or Game Genie and all that shit too. I hate the fact, first off, that they abused the fact that this was supposed to be rated R from the get-go, because that's what people wanted from 1995 back when. I mean, the movie was just like, what, 2-3 years removed from when the game came out originally. The game already sparked enough controversy when it came out. So to make the movie go hand in hand with the game, as far as, you know, story, tournament building, the characters we've all known and loved from the game coming to real life on the big screen, would have been awesome being rated R. But, and it's funny enough because, listen, even back when in the 90s, the 80s, all that shit, how many movies that were rated R were big fucking hits anyway? Coming to America, they just fucking did the sequel to that no one fucking asked for, a couple of months removed. Did a review for that like a couple of weeks or maybe a month back. Look at the original. R-rated. Everybody's talking like adults would. They're laughing at jokes like adults would and that adults would make throughout the whole thing. Even if it was rated R, it was a hit. It's a classic. It's heralded till now. People still love it. People still reference it. So when we go and get the unpleasant surprise of day one when this shit drops coming to America we get this PG-13, fucking watered down, fucking hack, talentless prince that's supposed to be the new, younger, spunkier Eddie Murphy, which he seems like a nice kid, but he was trash in the film. The only plus side was Tiana Taylor, period, just with no shirt on. Well, okay, midriff exposed, whatever, with the abs popping and whatnot too, but you get what I'm saying. And then the girl he ends up with in the film, the royal hair braider. Oh my gosh, she's a baddie with the tits on her. Oh shit, wow. But yeah, besides that, there's nothing funny in the film. It's so watered down and such. So the fact that they had this to their advantage, it's like 25 something years removed from when the first one came out, fucking Mortal Kombat. Now you can flood the market with R ratings because Deadpool was a success, 1 and 2. So many R-rated hard R comedies came out, like a resurgence of them too. You know, Step Brothers. Step Brothers, don't ever watch that on TV. I made that mistake once, and that was enough for me, because as much of a classic as it is, the heavily edited, censored version on FX that comes up every so often, it's a waste of 2 hours. Because, no, it's not even 2 hours, like an hour and a half, with like a lot of commercial breaks to fill in, because they can't do nothing with it. They cut out all the fucking good jokes. The same thing with the other guys. Another very not as heralded as it should be Will Ferrell flick, and also, surprise, a decent performance by Mark Wahlberg of all people, who can actually change facial expressions throughout the film. He had 2 hours to do so he got it right at some point. Another classic, another comedy classic. That shit on TV is a waste of time. Fucking edited down, censored, you know, formatted for TV and shit like that too. So they had this to their advantage, being R-rated. I was reading earlier that as far as the gore, they wanted to please the fans and like make up for like 20 something years of not being able to do it back when it came out, when they should have done it the first time around. And even if it would have been like a cult classic, even if it would have been like a B movie at most, or not really broke the bank at the box office like apparently the first one did, they could have went in with an R from Jump Street, and they could have saved themselves the trouble of having to do it again now, which I think they would have done it anyway, because they're fucking at the point now remaking all this shit from back when, or, you know, 30-year later sequels that no one cares about. It's like the same thing with Anchorman. I love Anchorman. I'd say it's probably one of my top 10 favorite films of all times. I love comedies for the most part, but no one asked for Anchorman 2, and I hate the fact that it took so long, you know, so far removed from the first one for it to come out, to get shitted on like it did. Now, mind you, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not trying to salvage it. I'm not trying to say, oh, you guys are assholes for, you know, tearing it apart like you did when it came out. It really isn't that good. It's decent. It's nowhere in comparison anywhere near good as the first fucking Anchorman. But it has its moments. And funny enough, this went with an R and earns its R with the language, and I think it's someone's dick showed, or like some titties or whatever too were out there, but it didn't deliver. That's aside though. Let me see. R.I.P. Goro again, and I should have played Jax. Well, Larry at BBQ, I will take your word for it, because I can't see you besides your little icon here on the chat, and thank you for joining as well and chiming in also. But Jax wasn't bad, actually. I wouldn't say it was great or like saved the movie, nothing. There's barely anything saving this movie, aside from, we'll get to it later on too, the other points I wanted to make, but what does save the film is anytime Scorpion and Sub-Zero meet, be it from Jump Street, very beginning, when they're depowered, or at least Scorpion is, and, you know, Sub-Zero's being an asshole, apparently, because, you know, Japan versus China, that whole thing too, but then like the rival clans and all that shit, the history they had before that, and then at the very end when they finally meet again and Scorpion makes a really cool entrance. By the way, when he comes back, when he reintroduces himself, Scorpion, and does the part we were all waiting for to get over here, if you notice and paid attention, I pointed it out when they did the fucking trailer release for it, and everybody was so fucking geeking and obsessed and happy, like I was fucking lured in. I fucking took the bait. When everybody was all happy and giddy about the trailer, Everybody overlooked the fucking muffled "get over here" that he did in the fucking trailer. They fixed it, thank God, for the movie itself. Because now at least, even underneath the COVID mask and everything Scorpion's wearing, because he's socially distanced, he's dead, he's got no choice. You hear him, clear as day. Get over here, as you should. With no fucking muffling of the mask, because explain to me then in the fucking games, in the other fucking movies, he had a mask, a big ass mask on, way before the pandemic and all that shit too, like almost 30 years before it. And you can still hear him clearly. But then the trailer of this remake, this reboot that they're trying to give to the world, the fucking abuse and use for fucking Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 and whatever, that we would have gotten, you know, like 5 by now if the first one would have actually been, no, it was a hit. I'd say it was a hit. But then if Annihilation would have actually been decent, I think we would have at least like topped out at like 5. So no wonder the reboot came now. But yeah, you know they're trying to fucking milk it for like at least 3-4 more of these later on. And you know, with pandemic and COVID and shit too, kind of slowing down production overall, hopefully they know to take a knee. And they know to fucking take their time, Betty had said. Put together a good story. Because again, there's no point, again, spoilers by the way, there's no point to allude to Johnny Cage of all people, which he's great in the games. Like, he's funny. He's especially in fucking Mortal Kombat 11, the whole story with him involved too. He's hilarious. And they fucking made him over time develop into somebody worth watching, worth enjoying. A character, okay, he's not that great, he's not that powered, he's got like whatever, at least he's funny. Comedic relief. So to allude to him now and purposely building to a sequel, of all things, a very cheap tactic. It was cool, I'll admit it, but it's a cheap tactic. They could have saved us trouble and just gave him Johnny Cage now, instead of fucking this new guy that no one cares about. We could get him as DLC like in Mortal Kombat 11, but then to give you the guy from the movie that no one gives a shit about, the actor or the character at all, after you got, for DLC purposes, after you got RoboCop, Rambo, the Terminator, you know, all the guys you got for fucking Mortal Kombat 10, the horror guys, Leatherface, Jason, I forget who else, but Alien, Predator, all them. You're going to give us a guy from the fucking movie that no one gives a shit about? And the fact is now, all the reviews coming in, Rotten Tomatoes, wherever you look, it's not getting the greatest reviews. It's a hit and miss. And for the most part, they're deeming it a miss. Shout out to Mad CX8T for joining as well, too. What's up, bro? It's all over the place, too. The fact that, you know what? Let's talk about some of the good, the very few good parts of the movie. One that stuck out immediately to me, and thank God, they seem to get him right in fucking the first one from 1995, as they did with this one here. Thank God for 2021, Kano. I forgot to look his name up just to sing his praises, just to fucking give him his flowers while he can still smell them and shit. The guy that played Kano, as someone else mentioned in the comments and I was going to get to, was chef's kiss. The saving grace of this whole movie. Anytime he opens his fucking mouth, makes a joke, and he's free to be Kano, as he should have been from 1995. And if he would have lived to see 1997's fucking abomination, abortion on film, Annihilation. Wonderful. Comedic timing, the lines, the dirtiness, the just not giving a fuckness of his nature, of his demeanor, of his swagger, I guess you could say, if anything, too. I think he's a legit Australian comedian or something like that, too. So I have to look him up. I got to follow him immediately on social media because he was hilarious, very perfectly casted. Even though, for my wrestling fans out there, tell me not, did he not look like Sami Zayn with, you know, before the pandemic beard, you know, kicked in and the red hair that, you know, doesn't look bad on him, but take it easy, Sammy. Like, relax. This is part of the reason why I stopped watching wrestling, period, now, too. I love Sammy, but even Sammy, as genius as a heel as he is right now, couldn't keep me from fucking saying bye-bye to wrestling as I done right now recently. WrestleMania was my last fucking hurrah with wrestling. But, yeah, Kano was great. He was funny the whole time. When you get introduced to him, too, he's fucking just hilarious. I love when you get introduced to him and he's like messing around with Sonya, whatever, too, threatening her. One of his best lines, I can't remember the other one immediately off head, But I love the best line is, oh, basically, oh, let's find out if you're a natural blonde down there too, or whatever, alluding to the pussy, of course. Because here's another thing. Even though we were going to start off with the good, the very little bit, few sparse out parts of the movies that are good, we might as well jump and go mano a mano with the bad. Immediately bad, Sonya Blade. I mean, listen, the lead guy was a bad mistake, a big enough mistake to make from the get-go. Cold World, whatever his name is in real life. Sonya Blade, whoever they casted. If anyone else here is a Seinfeld fan like I am, you'll know who I mean when I say she had a case of that one girl that Jerry dated who looked great underneath the right lighting and angles, but terrible without the light and the angles involved. This girl had a fucking hard case of that shit. I don't want to disrespect her in real life, but they really could have done a better job casting Sonya Blade, because this girl was like in the right lighting, camera far away enough, angled properly. She was like, okay, she can get it, kind of, you know, whatever. I wouldn't mind, just, you know, from the back, whatever, preferably not looking at me directly in the eyes and shit. But then as soon as the light gets taken away from her, or she's like too deep in the cave and dark, and she's like, oh, whatever, stay away from me, bitch. But yeah, that's one aspect. The other is she's terrible. A fucking Sonya Dullblade, if anything. She's a fucking Sonya Butterknife, she should have been called instead, because she is boring. She can't hit her fucking lines. The fighting with her was okay. I mean, listen. She's also the most guilty party throughout the whole fucking film. Another big fucking problem I had. Big sore thumb, big fucking thorn in my side with this film was the fighting. Not so much the fighting. It wasn't bad. It was kind of all over the place. It was kind of like, you know, stop and go a little bit too. It didn't flow naturally like a fight would, especially like in mostly you can consider it a martial arts film. It's nothing like if anyone else here watched The Raid or The Raid 2, which chef's kiss, choreography, fight alone. Oh my God, those shits are fucking classic in those realms. 1 and 2, godfather of like martial art, crime, drama films from Asia of all places too. Nothing touching it anywhere near that realm. But she's most guilty of, Sonya Blade, of what I hate the most, and what there was a very little bit of, very few moments of in the original Mortal Kombat. The fucking hardwire yank. To fucking exaggerate like a kick that was supposed to cave in their chest. And the next thing you know, it's like a hard yank. But like the first Scorpion scene with he's getting introduced where they kill his family off and shit. One of the guys at the end, one of the last guys he kills too, he like kind of yanks him in a little too quick, and like it's a real bad jump cut or editing job, whatever they did, like a rush job. He just yoinks him in immediately, and just he dies like from whiplash of his neck hitting the ground and too fast or whatnot. Sonya has the most fucking, is the biggest culprit of that shit, because she's flipping unnecessarily. She does like a cartwheel into like a backwards handstand just to stick a landing from like a 3-foot high jump, if anything too. Melina had one too when she's fighting her the first time, and she goes, who does this? Even if you're a martial artist, even if you're Jackie Chan, a fucking Chinese acrobat, world-renowned Olympic gold medalist, if you're Gabby, what's the young black girl that's like the amazing gymnast? I forget. Gabby, not Gabby Sidibe, that's Precious. Gabby something, I forget her name. But even if you were her, why would you ever be enough of an asshole or that big of a show-off to fucking front flip like Ricochet off the stairs a couple extra times just to land on top of somebody and pin them down with your knees by the shoulders? It's unnecessary. It looks so fucking fake. It reminds you, unfortunately, that, okay, leading up to that part, the movie has a lot of flaws. No flawless victory as of yet. Nowhere near it. A lot of fucking flaws. And on top of that, you get sorely reminded, oh fuck, someone choreographed this shit and just watched too many fucking Harry Potter films or something, where we can see the wires getting yanked, but people going yoink and yoink over here, left and right, up and down, whatever too. It's disgusting sometimes too. It's too fucking painfully obvious. Everything happened too fast here. I wouldn't complain like other people did as far as like action being too fast. It was paced enough, But you clearly see a lot of punches and kicks missing, whizzing by people's faces. They don't land, they don't stick. Like I said, a lot of the hardwire yanking. Everybody's getting yoinked all around the place immediately, like a doctor trying to get a dying baby out of pussy too fast because the umbilical cord is that tight around the neck. I would know because I was one of them. But then again, I was C-section. I was cut up my mom's guts, so they didn't even try to do that with me. I couldn't come out the pussy. They had to yoink me out the stomach. So I would know about hardwire yanking like that because it was gonna kill me practically. But yeah, the fighting isn't bad overall, but it's like it's best to leave it to Sub-Zero and Scorpion because they had the best fucking parts of the thing you look forward to most was the fighting. Now, let's see. A couple things to point out. Cole Young, whatever his name is in real life, it doesn't matter because he sucked, I'm sorry. He takes the cake as far as the bad, stiff acting goes because the kid can't change his face at all. It's just like stuck this the whole time. He's got an awkward look to him. And then I realized and I found out that he's actually legit half British, half Chinese, which explains the face. It's kind of like, I'm not saying he's ugly or anything like that, pause. I'm just saying it's kind of awkward. Like he can't get the face right. Like it's a neutral face for every fucking state of emotion he's supposed to go through. You know what? You just disembodied clean within 3 minutes Goro of all people, a fucking boss in all the games and other movies too and shit too. You just dismembered him easily, like within 3 minutes. It's the same face, stone face. You just fucking defrosted your wife or baby mama alluding to and your daughter who's like, I can't tell if she's 10 or 13 or whatever because she's kind of chubby and shit. Same face, defrosting him, saving him from fucking the evil bad guy who has the ice powers and shit. He's practically fucking Elsa with a mask on. Saved him, same face. Whole time, doesn't change. Emotionless, can't act, whatever too. I don't know. Also, if anyone else noticed like me, listen, I'm guilty. I got a pulse and I'm a fan of pussy. I can't help it. I'm a man, I'm guilty of it. Did anyone else notice? Please tell me someone out there did. The ass on the girl that played Melina. Oh my Jesus. What ass on her. I mean, it was one of those where she's like not tall. You can tell obviously because there's like a scene where she's following Shang Tsung in the nether realms as they're talking about taking over the world and shit too, whatever. I think right before, no, it might have been right before they summoned Goro, where he just like busts through the doors, Prince Goro, you've come to join me and fuck these people up on Earth and shit. Yay, whatever. There's a back shot of her walking away. Oh, Jesus, what an ass on her. She's like, she's built like fucking Rachel Ray before she started eating too many of her own fucking dishes and went the whole fucking, BBW route. I mean, Rachel Ray is still like cute in the face and everything. Shout outs to her and no disrespect to her or her husband, but oh boy, she let herself go. Just like Kelly Clarkson. Cute as a button and shit, but then I don't know what fucking happened. The nervous eating leading up to her getting her fucking show, but then now she's a cow practically. Shout out to Kelly Clarkson, but come on. Tell me she hasn't put on some pounds. God damn, it's sad. Yeah, flawless victory cakes, absolutely. Those cakes were clapping as they walk. She needs no round of applause because she is the fucking star of the show as far as the ass clapping goes wherever she goes. Yeah. As I said before, Kano's hilarious. Pause in advance. The way they introduced Liu Kang in the film, literally, when he comes out the fucking mountains, when he's fucking about to introduce himself to SONYA and presumably good guy Kano and fucking I think it was Jax. I forget. Someone else was with them. I think it might have been Jax. I'm not too sure. I don't remember. Jax was kind of like here and there. No, I think Jax was like dead. No, not dead. He just had his arms ripped off or frozen off. Excuse me. He got the Elsa treatment. It's beautiful, and it's one of those few things that the movie gets right. Surprisingly enough, he walks out the fucking sand dunes, whatever the fuck it is, and the sun, the rising, or the oh god, what do you call the sun when it's fucking falling at the end of the day? Oh god, the sunset, the setting sun, as it beams right behind them. It's so, I'm I'm a fucking idiot. I couldn't remember what you call the sun when it sets. But yeah, as the sun is setting behind them, it's like a beautiful shot. It's those kind of like Instagram, immediately jumping for joy, thought girl jumps out in the middle of the desert. She's supposed to be appreciating the pyramids and the Sphinx and shit. It's like, no, my God, the sun is setting. I need to be fucking having the shit behind me, making the fucking whatever, Insta story and whatnot. But yeah, that was a nice like piece of imagery to take in and absorb as far as Liu Kang goes. Liu Kang was so malnourished. The guy was good as far as the acting and the fucking fighting and shit too. He delivered on that end. This fucking boy, he was built like a boy. He's fucking malnourished. He's like half the height of the old Liu Kang from 1995. He's got more hair, but then again, he's minute. He's like a fucking, he's a featherweight. He's like a cruiserweight. He's like on a 205 live at best, if he gets lucky at all. But good actor. I liked him. He was very sincere in his like good-naturedness as Liu Kang would be, as he was in the first film as well too. And the relationship he had with Kung Lao. Kung Lao was cool too. I mean, he had the advantage of having a really cool double duty hat. It's like a cool hat. And imagine being the guy that fucks up and unsuspectedly makes fun of his hat as he passes by you. Hey, you dork, you got a stupid fucking hat on. He just takes his shit off and just slices your fucking face. Because your whole $1.50, and then who's laughing now? You can't because half your face is flapping as you try to move your mouth, dickhead. Haha, got you. Kung Lao was savage at fatality he did on the damn vampire chick. Yeah, I was getting to that too. He had one of the coolest, if not probably the coolest fatality, clean. Like, we got that full blown, like straight up, like I had to really pull one of these as I was watching up to the TV. Because like, oh my fucking God, they're cutting through this girl clean like fucking lumber in a wood yard and shit. Just got the buzzsaw treatment, just split down the middle, down to half and shit. I don't know what Shang Tsung saw in her though. She wasn't hot at all. She was pale as fuck. She needed some sun, if anything, too, and those wings too. How can she give you a good hand job? Most of the fucking upper body strength goes to the fucking wings, so she's got like flabby arms, very weak forearm, no wrist strength or grip to really, you know. He's busy sucking souls. What's she busy sucking on? Fucking, what do bats suck on? Eggs? Or like the vampire bats, right? They suck on like cow necks or something. Okay. There was that. Kung Lao did have probably, I'd say, the coolest fatality of them all. I mean, you got Kung Lao. He did the buzzsaw hat trick with the vampire bitch. You got Jax when he finally develops his fully grown half metal, half man arms and destroys the guy and, you know, blows his head to chunks with one clap. You had SONYA, who, when she wasn't busy unnecessarily flipping and twirling all around like a fucking idiot acrobat, has the side beams like pulsating out of arms and blows a hole right through fucking fat ass Georgia Peach Melina, and she's dead, clean. Well, oddly enough, she blows a hole through her, but because it's Mortal Kombat, somehow the spine stays intact, but the rest of it's dead. But she blew right through her, like Scion beams or whatever. But okay, whatever. Mortal Kombat logic, we'll go with that. Touching on that also, as someone else mentioned, or a couple of you mentioned in the comments, and thank you again for chiming in, everybody in the comments. Cabal? Was it getting to Cabal? Yeah, I was getting to Cabal. Cabal was really cool. Cabal reminded me a lot of the voice of, at least, of like a really, what do you call it? What's the fucking guy's name? What's that game? He was like a very, like a dirty, potty mouth fucking Solid Snake. That same voice, like, I can't really do the Solid Snake voice, but if you ever play Metal Gear Solid and like when he has the walkie-talkie talks with the other guy, the commander, chief, whatever, sounds exactly like him, just like a really fucking dirty mouth, filthy talking, all that shit. He needs some Orbit gum, like if anyone remembers those commercials, you know, filthy mouth, Orbit. Let's see, Goro, touching on Goro, yeah. The thing that disturbed me the most about Goro, besides the fact that he got like quick work done on him, like just guts falling out of him, of all people, Cold World, the newcomer, the guy that has no powers and somehow develops all this like calluses on his fucking upper body and like wooden sticks out of his forearms and shit, enough to cut through his big ass, half man, half dragon, presumably, I think. He looks like a very extra tall, lean, lanky Hulk from the Avengers, with a fuckboy haircut. Like, you know when no one's looking or he's not in the Mortal Kombat tournament, he's got that big old ponytail in a man bun and probably sipping on like diet ice green tea in Williamsburg on his off days, of course. Don't tell anybody that because he's Goro. He's got an image to upkeep. So that's why they caught him sleeping. At least this newcomer did, of all people, and just sliced him open fucking through the abdominals and shit. It was disgusting. It was pathetic too, by the way. Let's see, what else? Kano was cool. We'll get back to this too, actually, since he was one of the few good parts. Enjoyable throughout. Hilarious. Potty mouth. What he should have been from the first film, even though the first film he was good too. He was a very... And the funny thing is too, I didn't know this till way after, is that Kano was never Australian. In the game at least, or leading up to the movie. They just happened to cast an Australian guy to play Kano in the first movie from 1995, and he just kept his Australian accent. I guess they liked it that much, or it kind of suited the character enough to be enough of a dick, because who takes Australian seriously with that accent anyway? And they just let him keep it. So from there on, they just decided to keep Kano as an Australian, you know, gun runner, drug asshole, smuggler, whatever too, and shit. A leader of the Black Dragon gang, clan, gang, whatever he does with himself. But the one thing I didn't like so much about Kano, the one little, I wish they would have done it better. Two things, actually. One is how he discovers his fucking chi, chakra, superpowers, mystical, whatever the fuck. The laser beam eye, which is cool, but it's only after Kung Lao and, of all people, Liu Kang pick on him at the fucking dinner table because they won't pass the egg rolls, which you're an asshole if you don't pass the egg rolls. Plenty of times we've been at the buffet table, at the Chinese spot, whatever, and we're enjoying ourselves, and there's always a fucking egg rolls at one end of the table. And then what happens? That guy won't pass it along, or you just happen to fucking find the guy that loves the egg rolls as much as you do. He's like kind of harboring, like, you know, just nesting them and shit practically. He won't pass them along. So I understand Kano fully. But it's not until he gets bullied by both of them that they purposely do it to him, you know, peer pressure, that he finally develops a chakra, which of all things is oddly enough a laser beam out of his eye. They don't define, even though it probably won't help the story, you know, progress nothing. They don't tell you how the fuck these people get these powers, out of all things. So you tell me if, in the case of Jax, if he didn't have his arms frozen and broken off from fucking Elsa, Sub-Zero and this shit, and he didn't have monks that somehow got like advanced technology enough to give him baby robot arms, and it's not until then that they know, oh, he's gonna know how to man up and turn these into brolic arms, but only if he really wants them and tries to and shit. They don't explain how that comes to be. Why does Sonya Blade get side beams out of her fucking forearms? Why does fucking Liu Kang, of all things, get fire out of his hands and shit, and someone's a dragon made out of fire entirely, and, you know, et cetera, and so forth. And then Kano gets stuck with a laser eye beam. He's not radioactive, he's not the Terminator. That's one thing. And then keeping on track with the fucking laser eye beam, what happened? The special effects they do with the fucking eye is awkward most of the time. But he can't really control it properly. He's like kind of awkwardly moving around. I get it too. Like with the pressure and the pulsation of the laser eye beam might not be too easy to get around with, but the special effects on it too really didn't help, because that's the one part that really looked like, okay, this is a movie, obviously I'm watching, but that is clearly too fake, or that was clearly just like copy pasted on after the fact because they were rushing, or maybe the budget got tightened up towards that part too, where they couldn't like add more to it to make it look more convincing. Just like Raiden's fucking eyes. Half the time they're white, or half the time they're blue, or half the time I can't tell what the fuck, or he's been smoking too much on 420. And he's lost in the mix too as well. But Kano, they really fucked up the special effects with the eye beam half the time. Also, second part of that would be, what happened to the metal face? Okay, not the metal face, but at least the metal eye socket, or metal eye orb, because yeah, Reptile, oh, shout out to Reptile. That was a pretty good part too, when he introduces himself to Kano's face. Have his face slashed off or clawed away at. He doesn't develop or replace his eye with like some laser shit, whatever too, metallic, whatever too, No, he just magically, because the god said so, develops a laser eye beam that pulsates out of his human eye. So where's the laser coming from? I mean, Godzilla, all right, he had the fucking whatever fire breath or whatever he had, but it wasn't until he ate a fucking nuclear bomb that he developed a radioactive nuclear breath that even that couldn't take fucking King Kong out clean in one shot. But Kong knew to jump out of the way on the fucking ship like a grown-ass man would. Not like a fucking overgrown ape would, but a grown-ass man would. But that's Godzilla vs. Kong. I didn't like that one too much either. But yeah, I didn't like that part so much by Kano. But otherwise, his character, his lines, delivery, everything too, he really saves the movie from being absolute trash otherwise. Let's see. I mentioned Cabal was cool already. We talked about Goro. Let's see. One part that kind of threw me off towards the beginning is the fact that Jax, you know, who we learn later on got his arms frozen off by Sub-Zero, who's like unbeatable, like a boss, sub-boss underneath Shang Tsung, whatever. He initially goes after Sub-Zero with a gun. So if they know, meaning him, Jax, fucking SONYA, and now Cold World knows of the existence of the Nether realm, they're gonna go over there and shit too. He goes at them with a gun. Why not keep the gun with you at all times? Okay, you lost your arms, you can at least strap it to the throne. Okay, right, he was like unconscious or whatever too, taken to the monks, and the monks knew how to fucking perform like Iron Man, Black Panther's rest in peace, little sister surgery on him to rebuild baby robot arms on him. But he didn't know enough to pack the gun. And then Sonya Blade knows willingly she's going into that realm and doesn't take a gun either. To go after Sub-Zero. You keep him at a distance, you keep him isolated, he can't fucking shoot ice that fast at you too. He could stop a bullet potentially with the fucking ice, but still, he can't stop every single bullet. And he could have been able to at least get some shots in, or at least like shoot him in the ankle. He goes down, and like he can't control the ice no more, and they start just shooting at him clean because he got some shots to get into. I don't understand why no one takes no real world weapons, but okay, I guess because they're kind of gods, they got powers, or they all found their chakra shis and did the downward yogas to like summon their whatever. Okay, maybe that's what it is. But either way, I don't get that part why no one takes a gun, at least a fucking switchblade or something too. Well, Kano had his knives on him too, but then he's kind of schlubby. He doesn't really know how to handle himself, and he gets easily bullied by the fucking smallest guys in the crew. Okay, one has a really sharp ass hat that can cut right through you if he really wants to, and another guy can shoot fire out of his ass and summon a dragon made out of fire to eat you, which I guess the dragon was real. It was just really fire or something like that. But okay, yeah, whatever. Let me see what else. I mean, we went through the gamut already. Sonya Blade sucks. The character, the actress, whatever too, sucks. I don't know if I would have been too mad, honestly, now thinking about it, if Ronda Rousey would have played Sonya Blade. Even though, hear me out, even though she was terrible, even as the voice actress for Sonya in Mortal Kombat 11. So maybe I'll take that back, actually. Maybe she wouldn't have been so good, because voice acting, she wasn't good either. Delivered the lines like she had, like, I don't know, Bell's palsy or something, kind of slurring her speech. Maybe she had just one too many to like calm her nerves as she delivered her lines or recited them, whatever. I don't think she would have done too much better in real life. Well, I mean, maybe she would have like legit broke a guy's arm while filming. Then she would have gotten in trouble and then whatever too. Shout out to Ronda Rousey right now. She's actually pregnant too, so shout out to her. Much love to her, but yeah, let's keep her off the screen, if anything, too. I guess she's better in the cage if she ever goes back to that, or the wrestling ring, whatever she decides to do with herself. And then, all right, we get to the very end now, which, I don't know how you guys feel. I still reminisce a lot about the old Mortal Kombat film, especially because of the theme, which actually, the theme, the Mortal Kombat, whatever they did, wasn't originally from the movie. There's a whole story to it, like, if you bought the game with the cartridge, you got like a pamphlet that said, oh, you can order the special CD soundtrack made for just the game. And it was like a hidden track on that shit that someone happened to stumble upon and said, hey, this will work for the film. So they fucking do it and they use it, and then boom, big ass hit. They remade that shit for the end credit scene. There's no post credit, nothing, so don't bother sticking through the shit to see if anything happens. But what do you call it? Yeah, they remade that shit, It sounds like the most laziest EDM, LSD, tripping off a name of drug I probably got in the back of my trunk because I'm white and privileged, you know. Let's pop a Zanny and forget all about this fucking Tuesday night, which nothing going on but tacos and shit down the bar at the cantina. Absolutely fucking lazy mix. They should have fucking, if they weren't gonna reuse it again, they should have left it alone. That's a fucking classic track, you know. I'm gonna be fucking white, I guess, or light privileged, and fucking say, yeah, I get that in on the playlist when I work out, and it helps me get through a workout faster. I'm that much of a fucking mark for it. But they should have left it alone. They should have respected enough to leave it with the old movie instead of fucking redoing it now, where it doesn't stand out even at the end credits. After everything, your blood flowing, people are dying and getting split and fucking heads blown off the chunks and whatever and whatnot. We didn't get a spine rip. We should have got a spine rip. We got exposed spine thanks to fucking Georgia Peach, fat ass fucking jiggling and wiggling all over the place. Melina, when she's dead with a fucking hole in the middle of her, like a Dunkin' Donut almost. But we don't get a spine rip. I mean, what? Yeah, we didn't get nothing like that. We should have gotten a spine rip. We deserved a spine rip from Sub-Zero. We waited for so long. We saw it digitally in the first fucking game. He's done it so many other times in every other version of Mortal Kombat 2, but we didn't fucking get it. But goddamn. Shout out to Smitty's Brew for joining, as well as that Sierra girl as well for joining the live. Rhonda was awkward. Yeah, she's kind of awkward. I mean, she means well, but she's kind of awkward. And yeah, they were better off using Alex Wright theme song. Yeah, shout out to Alex writing that old theme song, Das Wunderkind, and all that. Shout out to the wrestling fans in here too. But yeah, that's Mortal Kombat 2021. I mean, there's not a lot of good to say about it. I think we spent enough time kind of wrecking it, shitting on it. Not intentionally. I actually went into this film with good intent to actually enjoy myself and hoping that, you know, oh, the old one's kind of like a guilty pleasure. So this one, you know, it's rated R. It should be bloody and gory. I had no idea they were going to introduce a brand new character, to be honest, because you don't see him on the promotional posters. You don't see him really placid front and center like Scorpion and Sub-Zero would. And very good tactic by the fucking creators, Warner Brothers, whoever, of releasing the first 7 minutes on Twitter and wherever else they did too, to kind of hook you in and make you think, oh shit, it's such a touching story about how fucking Scorpion and Sub-Zero been enemies forever, and Sub-Zero killed off his wife and the oldest child, but the youngest one lived, or we assume all of them died, but you know, they hid the baby. So that Raiden could fucking abduct it and make her forcefully have children to continue the fucking heritage, the fucking bloodline of Scorpion. Beautiful opening scene. It makes you think the movie's gonna go this whole route of like story development and arcs, and the characters kind of work their way in kind of like subtly enough where it all flows and goes, you know, like mastering your chi and shit, whatever. Channeling the chakras and summoning the universe to fucking bring down enough calmness amongst you to enjoy of all things Mortal Kombat. But then no, it's fucking all over the place. It's hard yanking the wires, people unnecessarily flipping all around, people pulling punches and shit. It's just I'd be doing it a favor saying it's a bit of a mess. It's all the way a mess entirely, this film. So what are we gonna give it? What are we gonna rate it? Listen, I had an old system I used to work on based off emojis and this, that, the other, reactions, whatever, but I figured, listen, I got my props right here on my own props department. I set up everything here as far as what you're looking at, what you're hearing, and everything what you're seeing too as well. So we're gonna go with a new system. Based off the props I got here, it's only appropriate enough I put it to good use, since sometimes I've gone whole episodes without doing a couple of these to emphasize my points as I always meant to. So as far as how we're gonna rate it, it can go anywhere from 2 years, meaning classic, 1.5 year, kind of like there, which is really good, really great, but not a classic. We could do 1 year, which is a solid good, in between, meh, all right, not too bad. We can do like I need an ED pill ear, half a ear right there, which is like, it's bad, but it's not horrible. It's kind of like, borderline trash, borderline why the fuck did I pay whatever I paid for to even see it. And then we can go no ears, which is just fucking garbage. Absolutely. Fucking should have dumped it in the dumpster and set that dumpster on fire afterwards, along with the script, along with the fucking director's chair, along with the fucking thing that they yell cut with to fucking advance the scene and make the movie go further. All that shit, just dump it all in there, dumpster fire, immediately get rid of it. Dispose of all evidence. Can't ID the body, no teeth left, yank it out. R.I.P. DMX. I forget what song. He said that on the Touch It remix. Shout out to DMX and rest in peace, DMX. But something about pull out the teeth, can't ID the body, something like that too. It was a hard line. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 2021. I gotta go and be honest as far as what we've led up to this point and give it. No, that's too good. Half a year. That's all it's getting out of me, and that's where I'm gonna leave it at right there. I want to say it was up and stuck, but no, it's only halfway up and stuck. It's like not even more than what it's like. The piss boner used to get after like sitting there, like that's too long, looking at the girl with the fat ass sitting across for you too long. But you didn't want to be inappropriate by getting a full hard on. You can only get a half of one because you're at work. You're trying to remind yourself of that, and you don't want HR on your ass for being inappropriate like that. And you got slacks on, so you can't really be busting out the seams like that. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 2021 gets only a half ear out of a possible 2. Listen, Cole Young and SONYA were terrible the whole time. They were trading off as who's the fucking worst on-screen presence, useless character, whatever. Name one, I'll name both of them. Cole and motherfucking Sonya Blade. Sonya Dough Blade, Sonya Butter Knife, whatever you want to call her ass. And fucking can't find the right angles or lightings for her fucking face. At some point she is kind of like, oh shit, okay, I kind of hit that. But then she turns around this way and is like, oh my God, it's a witch, whatever. It's witchcraft is going on with her fucking face. It's all over the place with characters and fights. I mean, Shang Tsung at the very end, on top of that too, after they kill off fucking Sub-Zero, he got a very lackluster death. He only got burned. He's ice, so of course burning him was like bittersweet, but still he should have gotten more, at least tortured or like some limbs torn off, whatever. But okay, Shang Tsung comes in and he's all like, yeah, God damn it, you won this time, but then there's fucking next to your asshole and I'll fucking get you. And then guess what Raiden done? At that point, what he should have done the whole fucking time and had all these opportunities to do so up until that very end of the movie. He fucking snapped him away to wherever he sent him to, back to his fucking realm. He could have done that the whole time. Saved the whole fucking world, Earth realm, Mortal Kombat, and people unnecessarily dying, and then Kung Lao, getting RIP'd and all that shit too. And all of them getting embarrassed like they did the first time around. Shang Tsung came around fucking taking souls and digging holes and shit on some Undertaker shit. He could have done that. He could have saved them the trouble. Motherfucking Goro dies immediately. He's made light work of by the weakest, suckiest, no one gives a fuck about character throughout the whole film. That's embarrassing. Kano's laser was awkward. It could have been so much cooler to look at, or there's been other movies much older that did lasers way better, close to practically looking like they invented a laser just for the movie, but they pulled it up way better. But no, they couldn't do it. Fucking Kano, the one saving grace of the whole movie, acting wise and comedic relief wise as well too. Motherfucking Liu Kang looks malnourished. I mentioned that already. Fucking Kung Lao, he gets the soul sucked out of him. Paused by Shang Tsung clean. It's a long, dragged out scene. Unlike when Shang Tsung did it the first time in the old Mortal Kombat, it was like kind of immediately and cool because it was like close up and he was sucking him out through the eye and shit. No, this guy's like got his mouth wide open, choking him to death. You see Shang's Kung Lao slowly dying in his fucking arms, and then he's got his mouth wide open. Shang's like taking it all in. Like he's ready to get bukkake practically with nothing but soul. And it's slow, it's dragged out too. This whole time Kung Lao works his hat like Thor works his hammer. He just summons that shit and whoop, it comes immediately to save his ass. And he can't do it while he's getting the soul sucked out of him. So that makes no sense. Motherfucking, we still don't know. I can't define, I don't know what the fuck to name the powers that Cole World gained this whole time. It's undefined, and who gives a shit at this point, because they're moving on to Johnny Cage of all things now. So hopefully, if we do get a sequel to this thing, he gets killed off and we get Johnny to like avenge his death. Like, oh, they killed a young kid, I gotta stop being an asshole and take off my shades and fucking bust a split like RVD and nut punch another fucking half man, half dragon to save the day and shit. Again, the opening scene with fucking Scorpion and Sub-Zero, how they initiate or presumably end their rivalry because Sub-Zero kills Scorpion at the very beginning misleads you the whole entire time. It makes you think of that animated movie of Scorpion's Revenge, which is pretty fucking good. It's gonna go that route, Mortal Kombat-ish at least, but no, they gotta fucking inject everybody else. They gotta make space for fucking SONYA Butter Knife. They gotta make way for fucking Kano's awkward ass laser eye. They gotta make way for fucking Goro getting immediately killed by the weakest fucking simp of a character in the whole film. Makes no sense. And also, the gore is there, as they promised and as intended with an R-rated film. But you gotta wait for it. You gotta sit through a lot of bullshit to get to the gory parts. But they are satisfying. But they're very few and far between. The dude that plays Scorpion was 60 years old. Holy shit. Yeah, you can see it in his face. The fucking bags under his eyes alone, alludes to him being 60 and shit. But yeah, okay, that was cool. He was good. I liked him though. Maybe for the fact that I can't understand Japanese or Chinese, it just always sounds cool when they do the no offense, I'm not making no Asian hate with that too, but that's how it sounds most of the time. Or like that old joke they used to make about fucking they talk like 1,000,000 miles per hour, but then like they're only saying really 2 words, like, and then the captions read like hello, something like that. Yeah, Sub-Zero's definitely underwhelming, so yeah, I gotta leave it at that. It gets half a ear. A floppy, droopy dick ear for Mortal Kombat 2021, the reboot remake that I don't think we deserved. I think we deserved a lot better, or at least make good use of the R. Because I read that initially the gore they had implemented in this shit was supposed to be like NC-17 almost. Like no one under 17 is supposed to be watching this shit. Or like parental guidance, since everyone's at home watching this shit, would have been in full effect to make sure no kids are watching this shit. But because it just came out in time, presumably for theaters opening up again too, they dialed it back down to a hard R. I wouldn't even say like a hard R. It's like the gore is there. Okay, it definitely earned its R. It wasn't going to get a PG-13 with the gore going on, or the cursing thanks to Kano, which again hilarious throughout the whole thing with his potty mouth. But yeah, it's a hard R as far as the gore. I can't even begin to wonder what it would have been like had it been gory-er if possible. Damn, I just realized Jack's got his arms ripped off from everyone. Everyone in the fucking Mortal Kombat roster has fucking ripped his arms off at some point. Even fucking dumbass Sonya Blade with a fucking little butter knife and shit. Whatever. But yeah, that's this and that's that. That's Mortal Kombat 2021. Thank you all for joining in, for chiming in, for doing your part and being in the comments. Shout out especially to 810 versus the world. Doing your thing also on Twitch, twitch.tv/Villain of Vaughn. Always doing this thing with the live podcast and or gaming. I don't know how you do it with such I would assume a busy schedule, but yeah, you're on there way more than I ever could even imagine being on there. But shout outs to you. You're always doing your thing on there, so make sure to give him a follow and like, subscribe, all that shit too. And everybody else who chimed in on the chat, who came in, who jumped in for me this late at night on a Friday, considering it's actually still nice outside, but whatever, we're doing a thing here. Who that's been watching, as always, you get it live Fridays, usually 7 p.m., but sometimes I might do 10 p.m., I might do 7, I might do 8, in between, whatever. Busy adult, got an adult life to live as far as working, taxes got to be paid every so often, every April, approximately, allegedly, whatever, too. Well, no, approximately and definitely, because no allegedly with paying the taxes, because you don't pay your taxes, you don't want to get Wesley Sniped out here, where they might let you run around the streets thinking, oh, yeah, shit is sweet. 2-3 years I've been clean and paying my taxes. Then yoink, they yank you up. Like they pull the fucking get over here like Scorpion would, the IRS to your ass, and yoink you back in with what, $2-3 million owed? Come on, Wesley, what are you doing? Come on. What are you doing to yourself? What kind of example are you setting out there? Fucking everybody who wants to live the life you did. He was on top of the world for a fucking good, amount of years or whatever. White Man Can't Jump. And, oh God, what the fuck else did he have? New Jack City. There's something else I'm forgetting right now. And then there was the one he did with Jean-Claude Van Damme or Sylvester Stallone. Something like that, give or take. But he was on top of the world. He was the cool guy for the longest time. But yeah, who has been watching? As always, you get it here first Friday. You get it first here live Fridays on Instagram at whothisis1. A couple of days later and removed from, you will get the video version available on YouTube at youtube.com/whothisis1, as well as the strictly audio format on every podcasting platform of your preference, of your choice, whatever's up your fucking alley.